Hello fellow wizards and welcome to another how-to video. Today I'm going to teach you how to approach people and show them magic, and I'm going to show you all of this after the intro. Welcome back, my name is Sylar and I'm a professional magician, and today I'm going to teach you how to approach people to show them magic, regardless if it's a residency, a wedding, corporate event, whatever you're booked for or not booked for. Maybe you just want to go and show random people magic. How do you do any of this? So firstly, I'm just going to tell you how I learned to do this, and then I'm going to teach you some things to help you come up with your own ways. The one thing I don't want to do is give you a bunch of lines to use, because lines don't really work on everybody. There are certain lines that I would use and I'd be fine with it, but some of you may not be able to get away with it, and so on. So I don't necessarily want to go into lines or anything like that. I just want to teach you how to find your own way to go and approach people naturally and not copy anything from anywhere else. The reason I'd say I'm qualified to teach you this is because before being a full-time magician, I was a waiter slash bartender for over 10 years. So that's really how I personally learned how to go up to people, talk to them, and just be comfortable with it. Because, you know, if you work in a bar or in a restaurant, you have to go and take people's orders. You have to go and talk to them. You have to answer their questions. It's your job. It's what you're there to do. So eventually, you just get used to it. But think about it. As a magician, it almost feels like you have a bit more authority than everybody else there, because you're the entertainer. So obviously, if you can, go and be a waiter or a runner for a few months, and that will help you talk to people easier, and it will just make it easier for you to go and approach people and say hello and all of this stuff. So that's kind of how I learned, and honestly, I come up with new ways almost every month. Well, it was every month before the pandemic. Now, not that many gigs, but every time I do a gig, if I do up to 20 tables, one of those tables will have a line that I've never used before, and I'll just wing it and improvise. So stuff like this happens. Anyway, so as I said before, I don't necessarily believe in giving you certain lines that you can just go out and use, because I feel it's weird. I can give you some examples of what I do. If you think it fits you, feel free, but I think you should find your own ways to do this. My main advice is write down, or obviously after you come up with them, as you come up with these things gig after gig, write them down or just hold them in your brain and then adapt to every table. But for me personally, I adapt my magic to every table. So some tables may be different. Some tables might like card tricks specifically, so I'll just do card tricks. And it's the same. You choose the magic you perform for them, you also choose how to approach them. My favorite lately has been the absolute silent approach. And I know it might sound weird, and it probably is just me saying it. It sounds weird, but I do it and it works for me. So that's what I mean. That's a good example of it might not just work for you. So you probably know the trick where somebody names a playing card, you take out the playing cards, they're all facing up except for one card that's facing down, and that's the playing card. That's the first trick I do at every table. And then after the first trick, I try and change stuff up from the last table or whatever. So this is what I do. Let's say there's a glass here like that. I will literally just come in like that, put the deck on a glass. At this point, everybody stops talking. I look at somebody, the first person that makes eye contact with me, I'll say, name a playing card. They'll name a playing card, I take them out, I reveal the card, bam, reaction, and then I'm in basically, because now I sort of introduced myself and what I do without doing it. Because the main fright I feel most of you have is going to a table, saying, hi, I'm the magician, and getting a no. And trust me, I've been there, it happens to me a lot as well. The problem is they say that because they don't know how good you are yet. So this kind of bypasses that, because if you're already at the table and you're already with the deck on the glass, and you already asked the question. I've been doing this particular thing for 2 to 3 years, and only once somebody said no, but by no, they're kind of super into their conversation, so it was kind of my fault. But then the other 2 people at the table brought me back to show them magic later. So that was kind of me judging the table I should go to wrongly. I just shouldn't have gone because they were just talking or whatever. So that's one of my favorite ones, is just no line at all. Just go and start performing. You know, when I used to do nightclubs 10 years ago, I had a flaming wallet, you know, when you open your wallet and it goes up into flames. I literally would just open that and just run around the nightclub and yell. and people would just see some guy with flames, and then it'd be easy for me to go and approach people and show them some magic because they've just seen me do something crazy. So if you can think of approaches to show people magic without actually saying anything, that's a really good thing to do. Now, before I talk about how you should find your own way, I kind of just, it's hard for me to do, because if somebody asks me how do you approach a table, it's always different, and sometimes I kind of just wing it. By that I mean, look, I've been doing this for over 15 years and I still have problems sometimes. Especially now, we haven't done gigs in months, you know, and I'll do a gig and it just feels so weird to go up to people because I haven't been up to anybody for months and showed them magic. So even for me, it's a bit weird. The one I'm using now, because it gets a little laugh and it gets me in straight away, I've been using it with residencies a lot, is hi, I'm the social distancing magician, which gets them to laugh a bit, and then I'll show them some stuff from a distance and give them my digital business card. If you want to see me talk about that, go watch the 3 things to get you more gigs video, and you'll see what I'm talking about in that. So in general, I would say it feels I'm giving you advice that you probably know already, but genuinely try and be yourself. Don't take lines that you heard others do. Don't do things that you would feel uncomfortable doing, right? Or the other way you can think of it is, how would you want to be approached? So if you would be at a table and you're having a conversation with a friend of yours, how would you want to be approached to say yes? And how would you want to be approached to say no? So maybe think, what would be the things that I wouldn't want to deal with at a table, you know? So those would be things, because what I don't want to tell you is just certain things to say and do. I want you to find your own ways. And as I wing it sometimes, I suggest you do too. Just have no plan of what you're gonna say. Just go to the table, say hello, and then wing it after that. Because sometimes you just get a cool vibe from a table and you can instantly start chatting with them. And you're doing it naturally rather than in your mind going, oh, I have to say this sentence and whatever. So just be as natural as you can. The other thing that will help you find your own way to approach tables is looking at the type of magic you do and the type of persona/character you have. Because obviously you may not know this, like I have this whole story with me being an alien and being from space, and Mr. and Mrs. Dracula took me, whatever. So I use a lot of that stuff when I approach a table. So the more you're in character, the more it makes sense for you to do and say things that your character might do. So I would say just make a quick list of what your character does, like what type of magic you do, what type of character you are, how you perform, are you funny, are you serious, and then try from those things come up with ways to approach people, because then they make sense. Everything then makes sense. Your character links in with your magic, with you approaching people, with everything else. So for me, for the type of character I am, it makes sense for me to just go and leave a deck there and talk to them, because I'm very, I would say it's wrong because I am a bit pushy, but I think that's because I've been a waiter for 10 years, so I feel very comfortable around people. And especially when they're at a bar, I generally just sit down next to them and start performing. But that's just me. I know a lot of magicians are terrified of doing that. So I feel maybe now that there'll be a lot of social distancing magic for a while, it might be easier for you because you don't actually have to be near people or anything like that. Just go next to the table, say hello, introduce yourself, say you're the performer, you're the entertainer, anything you want to do, and then go into a trick, and then just chat with them a bit, see what they like, see what type of magic they've seen before, and then you know what to show them after that. But I think the more you try and make it original when you approach them, the easier it would be for them to say yes, you know. And obviously I go for the general, like, hey guys, I'm the magician, can I show you some stuff? And I feel personally this video would help people that want to do residencies or they just want to perform to friends and family, because I feel if you're already doing gigs, you should have the confidence and you should know how to approach people. If you're terrified of approaching people at gigs, you really shouldn't be, because somebody's paid you to be there. If I'm at a wedding and the bride and groom paid me to be there and entertain their guests, that's my job. So you got to do it to the best of your ability. But the next thing and the last thing I want to talk about is how to motivate yourself to get to those tables, because again, as I said, even I sit there sometimes and I'm terrified to go to a table, especially if I'm doing a corporate event and the organizer tells me, oh, there's that table of 12 and they're all super important people. Make sure you impress them, Sylar, because we paid you money. So obviously there's a lot of pressure on me. So I tend to think of the things that I might get out of performing at that table. That's how I personally motivate myself to go to that table, say hello, and perform. And the reason I'm saying this is because sometimes you'll have 12 tables, and I'm just saying this from experience and seeing other magicians do it. They won't go to all tables, and sometimes the reason will be, oh, I think that guy's not gonna like magic, or I think that guy's gonna say something or whatever, and this is just them assuming. So what I'm saying is, I'm giving you this type of motivation so you can go into even the tables that you think might be difficult, because I always think, oh, my next big gig can come out of that. Maybe they know somebody that can hire me. Maybe they know somebody that can help me with a whatever project. So I'm constantly in my head giving all of these people at the table something that I could win off them. Even though it's just in my mind and they couldn't actually help me with those things, it motivates me to go to a table, perform, and essentially do my job. Okay, so filming this, it kind of felt like rambling. I really hope while editing this, I will find some bits for you to actually, you know, find interesting and learn from. So if that was the case and you did learn something from this video, please consider leaving it a like, because then I'll be happy. I'll be happy anyway, don't worry. But please leave a like on this video and leave a comment with additional questions you have about this, because I will do a follow-up video and answer all of these questions if there are enough of them. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that. There's a brand new video every week on Wednesday, so I will hopefully see you next week. Thanks for watching again. Have an awesome week. Bye.